In this video we're going to create some random numbers and then we're going to create some groups and we're going to get the frequencies and the relative frequencies of these scores. If I click on a cell anywhere here and hit delete, it refreshes. And so with new scores we end up with new frequencies and relative frequencies. Okay, so I'm going to create a new sheet. And first thing, I'm going to leave that top row free for headings. I need to create a random number. So if I go equals RA, I've got the random number generator there. It's going to give me a number between 0 and 1. So I'm going to then, so I'm going to just close the bracket and then multiply that by whatever factor I want. So if I multiply that by 100, say, then I'm going to end up with these sort of numbers here. Now these would be continuous data, whereas I really want integers and just keep it simple. So I'm going to change this to int. That creates an integer. In other words, it's going to round down. And then when I do that, notice that to copy down, I just grab that cell, grab the little square at the bottom right and copy it down as far as I want. Now this should go from 0 to 100 exactly, because if I have 0.01, it'll round to 0. It's round to 0. If I have 0.99999, it will round down to 9. And then so hang on, do I have to add 1 here? Let's just do a little experiment. Let's just multiply it by 3 and we will see whether or not we get our zeros and whether we get our 3s. So yes, we do get our zeros, but we do not get 3s. So if we want to include 3s, maybe we want to go from 1 to 3, so we would just add +1. And that will now give us numbers from 1 to 3. Okay, now I actually want numbers from 1 to 100, so I'm going to do 100, enter, and I'm going to copy that down, and I'm going to copy it down, let's say 40 rows. It's just what I did there. Now I started at 1, so that's 41, so there should be 41 records there. Okay, I'm going to just set random groups of 1 to 20, and watch what happens when I enter this. I think it's going to convert it to a date. Note that. Okay, so 1 to 20, I'm going to have to be careful of that. I'm going to have to put a little apostrophe in there, 1-20. Okay, otherwise it's going to think it's the 20th of January. Alright, I'm going to just copy this down and then change the numbers. So we're going to do 5 groups, and I'm going to do, notice how it steps up the numbers automatically. I want to do 21 up to 40, down, I want to do 41, let's do it up here, 41 up to 60, here I want to do 61. Now these are just cosmetic, they're not going to be the actual values that are the calculator, the spreadsheet is going to work from. So I'm doing 81 through to 100. Alright, so I do not need this one, hit delete and it's gone. Alright, now I am going to need a class center. Let me just see what I put over here. Yeah, I want to have class centers in here and then bins and frequencies. So class center up here. Okay, now if I add 20 and 1, I'll get 21. Divide by 2, I'm going to get 10.5. The same here, I'm going to get 30.5. And I can get smart now and I can highlight both of those and grab that little box, copy down, and bingo, there's all my class centers. I can double click on the boundary up here and make that narrow. I can double click on the boundary here and make that optimum width. Alright, so now we're going to do our bin column. I'm going to leave it as a lowercase bin because it's not really, you would hide this column later on, you'd shift it somewhere else if you're doing fancy figures, but for us, because this is a school project, we're going to leave it there. Alright, my bin is my maximum value, so that's 20 down 40, and again I'm going to grab those two and I'm going to copy them down. Saves me a minute of time. Okay, now I'm going to write my formula. So this is equal to frequency, and I just have to type a few letters. Comes up, tab. I can copy my data set here, and I can go down to there, 41. And then I've got to put a comma, and I've got to copy the bin values. So I copy those there and enter. Whoops, something happened, I lost it. Alright, copy the bin values. I think I did a full stop instead of a comma. The bin values, okay. Alright, I'll copy that up because things in the way. Enter. Bingo, my frequencies are there straight away. Good. Double click up here. That 0 you can't get rid of. If you try to delete it, it just stays there. So we won't worry about that. What we might do is get a total here equals sum, tab, and I'm going to say it's the sum of these. Enter. And so we know we've got 40 numbers down the side there. Great. Alright, we might add one more column, which is going to be relative frequency. Frequency. What am I doing? Tab. Okay, the relative frequency is going to be this over that total there. So I'm going to write equals that one over, so divide, it's the slash / divide by that. If I put in enter, it gets upset with me. I must have clicked the wrong number. Go back up here, F7, I want F8. Enter. Now it's happy. Alright, if I want that as a percentage, I can just click the percentage there and it's a little more accurate. Alright, now can I just copy this down? Let's see. Oh, disaster. What's going on? What's happening is that it's looking for F9 now. It's looking for a relative cell value, and we still want to use F8. So we are dividing by 0. Big problem. Okay, so we need to put a $sign in front of that 8 to make it an absolute cell reference instead of a relative reference. And now when I copy down, it works. Alright, I'm going to pick a cell here. I'm going to hit delete. And oh, there was one with a 2 we could have checked. Here's one with a 4. There should be 4 numbers above 81. I'm not going to go through and count. I'm going to believe that it's correct. But you can check that more thoroughly. Alright, is that all I've got? Do I need a, that's all relative frequency? Okay. Now, let's just suppose that I want to expand my range here. At the moment I've got 40 numbers. Alright, let's just copy this across and I'm going to make it 80 numbers now. Alright, how do I change my frequency? And I'm now going not just to the A column but to the B column. And so I've now got 80 numbers. We can see straight away 80 numbers. If I hit delete, then it appears to be working, and so we've automatically collated our numbers. Now we can put headings up here and dress this up, but that's the mechanics of the operation. Thanks for listening.